Today's video, we have breaking news. A U.S. Marshal and an illegal migrant was shot during an immigration raid. Secondly, the president just signed an executive order regarding H-1B visas. And finally, we have an update regarding the government shutdown, which includes more nonsense and more threats from Hakeem Jeffries. So why don't we start with that update about the ICE officer in this immigration raid? Take a look.
And good afternoon, everyone. I'm Trace Gallagher in for Martha McCallum. This is the story breaking right now here in Los Angeles. DHS now telling law enforcement that an officer and an illegal immigrant both were injured during an immigration raid. Now, we're told it began when federal agents closed in on their subject. It was a Mexican national who then rammed a vehicle in an attempt to escape. The national correspondent Matt Finn has the latest. He's live with us here on set in Los Angeles. Matt, what are we learning here?
Well, Trace, we just got a statement from DHS that says this shooting incident unfolded during an immigration enforcement traffic stop near downtown L.A. The target had previously escaped from custody. DHS writing the illegal alien weaponized his vehicle and began ramming the law enforcement vehicle in an attempt to flee. Fearing for the safety of the public and law enforcement, our officers followed their training and fired defensive shots. The illegal alien was shot in the elbow, and one law enforcement officer was shot in the hand by a ricochet bullet. Both are in the hospital.
Okay, bottom line up front, we already started to see the way this story is being used as propaganda, especially from people like CNN. Look at the headline you guys see here on the screen. A suspect was gravely wounded and a U.S. Marshal was injured during a Los Angeles immigration enforcement operation. You notice how they just lead with gravely wounded? So they're already trying to manipulate people regarding this story. Now, here's a comparison to the way Fox News reported on it. A U.S. Marshal and an illegal immigrant have been shot in Los Angeles during an immigration operation. That sounds accurate to me. But I wanted to show you guys this because that's how quick they are in pushing the propaganda out there. That is CNN and, of course, the Democrat Party. But there's more to this update. Take a listen.
Now, a federal source tells Fox the suspect is believed to be a Mexican national in his 40s. DHS noted that assaults against its law enforcement officers are up 1,000%, and that includes vehicle rammings. Homeland Security also pointed out that some elected officials and advocacy groups have advised illegal aliens on how to block ICE and defy arrests. Now, you recall there has been ongoing unrest since earlier this summer when ICE and DHS began its immigration raids here in Los Angeles. We do expect more updated from federal investigators soon, and we'll bring those details to you, Trace.
Yeah.
Now, when we took a look at the Department of Homeland Security's X account, here's something that they put up, which is interesting. They said these dangerous attempts to evade arrest come after sanctuary politicians held webinars and provided resources and tips for how to openly defy ICE. Now, AOC hosted a webinar back in February, if you guys recall, as it turned into this whole spat between her and Tom Homan. Secondly, Gavin Newsom released guided advising aliens how to block ICE entry and defy arrest. And Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass issued multilingual flyers and online resources advising illegal aliens on how to evade arrest. So we already know that ICE is going in and trying to detain people who obviously won't comply with their orders. So things like this will continue to happen. And if the sanctuary cities would just hand these people over, it would obviously make everything much easier. But that's not something that they are going to do. In fact, what these politicians are continuing to do is threaten ICE officials with arrests. Take a listen to this.
We've seen it around the country, in Chicago, in Los Angeles, in Portland. Masked ICE agents, aggressively militarized, assaulting lawful permanent residents and United States citizens. That is amoral. It is illegal. And it is un-American.
Congressman Dan Goldman is asking the police commissioner to prepare the NYPD to go after law-breaking ICE agents.
And if you are an agent and you assault a lawful permanent resident without reasonable suspicion, falsely arrest them, and use excessive force, that is a crime.
Now, a key detail that we should all be aware of, basically, it wasn't the migrant that shot the U.S. Marshal, because that's who was shot in the hand. It was the fact that it was a sheriff or one of the ICE officials that was shooting at the migrant, and in the process, it ricocheted and hit the U.S. Marshal and also hit the migrant as well. So I think that's a key detail to understand. The migrant was not shooting at officials, but they are saying that the migrant trying to ram these officials off the road, and that's common, as we have seen it on videotape already, where people try to do things like that. So obviously, glad nobody was fatally hurt in this process. But when you see politicians calling for ICE officials to be arrested, I think, we have some serious problems. Now, right after this happened and the migrant was in the hospital, you know what protesters did? They showed up to the hospital screaming, language that I'm not going to repeat at officials. Take a look. Okay, so now we're going to head to our next story, and this is about the government shutdown. It's still the same nonsense that we're continuing to see, but there's some fresh threats from Hakeem Jeffries himself. I think one of these clips I'm going to show you is in regards to him. It seems like the hood side of him is starting to come out, if you guys catch what I'm saying. But first, let's start with the president during this luncheon at the Rose Garden, where he gave us an update about the government shutdown. Take a listen.
Because the whole country would be bankrupt, and you're not going to have any kind of medical insurance. So with us, it's the opposite. And it's a great bill. We don't need any more. And I want to just say from the beginning, our message has been very simple. We will not be extorted on this crazy plot of theirs. They've never done this before. Nobody has. You always vote for an extension. Chuck Schumer and the Senate Democrats need to vote for the clean bipartisan CR and reopen our government. It's got to be reopened right now. We're not doing that. They are the obstructionists. And the reason they're doing it is because we're doing so well. We're doing well all over the world. We're doing well with the close to $20 trillion that I just told you about. It will be that number. But even if you take it down to over 17, that's a guarantee. We're doing well with everything.
It reminds me financially what's wrong with this country. You have to think about the interest rates at this point. You've got to think about how high inflation has become. And you also have to think about your financial future. You think people like Mondani, Andrew Cuomo, these Democrats, even Republicans in some cases, you think they care about you? You think they care about your financial future, your retirement plan? Absolutely not. All you need to do is look at the results. What is the price of gold right now versus the value of the dollar? That's why I encourage you guys to reach out to Lear Capital. It's exactly what I recommended my mother-in-law to do. She was worried about her money. She was worried about the cost of living. And she does live in California, by the way. And what she was going to do moving forward with her retirement. So she wanted to take matters into her own hands, and she wanted to speak to people that could be trusted. That is Lear Capital. You want the education on how to take your hard-earned cash and put it into precious metals investing. Lear Capital is the people to talk to. So the bottom line here for me is that with all this uncertainty, reach out to my friends at Lear Capital so they can show you how gold or silver can help you. And right now, as a special, they're offering $20,000 bonus in gold or silver on a qualified purchase. All you have to do is call them at 1-800-920-8388. That number again is 1-800-920-8388. Or you could go to the link in the description below at leardevori.com. And therein lies the issue politically, right? Because if the president is doing well, and he's doing the right thing that the 77 million people voted for, Democrats are sick. They don't want him to be successful, which means they don't want our country to be successful because his ideas make total sense. They're rooted in common sense. Now, you may disagree with how he executes these ideas. That's always up for debate in our country. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but the merits of what he is doing is spot on. And it's just unfortunate that's the way Democrats choose to fight against the president. Now, here he is, just giving one more call for Democrats to do the right thing. Take a listen.
But today I'm calling on every Senate Democrat to stop the madness, to let our country get back. In the greatest moment in the history of our country in terms of wealth, in terms of job creation, and in terms of investment coming in, these guys go on strike. It's really a shame. So I'm asking them to Be smart. It's not working. They're getting killed in the polls. The public understands what they're doing. They're doing the wrong thing. And with that, I just want to say welcome to the White House.
Now, based on the fight that Democrats want to have, which is the Obamacare subsidies or the ACA subsidies, according to Harvard Cap's Harris poll, they say majority of Americans say Democrats should end the shutdown without these ACA subsidies. And as you guys can see here, 65% to 35%. So 65% of Americans say just get the government open and then have that fight. And then they say, does the government shutdown make you more likely to vote for Democrats in the midterms or more likely to vote for Republicans, or does it not affect your vote? And as you guys can see, Republicans have the edge there, 36 to 34. So, I mean, this seems to be a fight that is not going in the direction that Democrats want it to go in, because I think people are more politically aware today and they're not as stupid as Democrats want them to be, right? Well, here is, right? Well, here is an example of that. MSDNC thought it was smart to bring on a TSA employee to, I guess, bash the Trump administration for this government shutdown, but it actually backfired. Take a listen.
Their message is to do their jobs on Capitol Hill, which is fund the government, keep it open, just like we come to work every day. We take an oath to protect and uphold the Constitution. They should be doing the same. We don't want to get involved in a political component. We're tired of being political pawns on a chessboard for either party to be used as pawns.
What do you think of what the Democrats are arguing, which is that they need to keep going on this because they have to get health care subsidies extended? They're gonna run out, and they need folks to get this money. Bernie Sanders says 50,000 people a year could die if they lose access to health care.
Yeah, well, that's for political negotiators to negotiate, and for them to negotiate, I think they've made their point. So it's time for them to return to the bargaining table, address these issues. But passing a continuing resolution is the opinion of the union, and allow folks to address these issues as they should. This partisanship doesn't work out well for the frontline federal workforce across the country.
Yeah, he's spot on about that. I've told you, innocent people get hurt in this process because of these political games, especially from Democrats. You guys already know the history. They voted every single time for a continuing resolution. This is the only time they refused to do it. So, I mean, that's interesting. Now, when you have people like that going on to MSDNC and just saying, just get the government open and then fight about this, you'd think that'd be enough for Democrats to read the room and say, you know what, let's go and get the government open and then we'll have that fight. Well, I don't think they got that message, because here's one of them on CNN earlier continuing to dig in. Take a listen.
Some Republican senators have pushed a bill that would pay government workers who have not been furloughed as part of the government shutdown. Those who have been furloughed would still be without pay. Is this something you would support?
I'm not going to pit some of my government employees against other government employees. I think that just gives the president more leverage to really make the situation worse and treat some government employees with incredible disdain. We've already seen a lot of government employees fired during the shutdown who didn't need to be fired. This is an administration that's very hostile to government employees. I have a lot of those folks in my state, and I'm not going to turn my back on any of them.
Well, if you're not going to turn your back on any of them, then vote to get the government back open and then have the fight that you want to have. It's really interesting because it doesn't make sense to me. If you feel so convicted in this, get the government open so you can bring a piece of legislation to the floor. You can't do that right now. The government's closed. But hey, these people know what they're doing, right? This is their main strategy. The only problem is not all Democrats agree, especially Senator John Fetterman. Here's what he had to say today.
Are you surprised that vote after vote, it's just been 3 Democrats time and again who voted for this bill? Does that surprise you?
Yeah, it's Groundhog Day, you know, and I'm just saying, and it's not entertaining. That's a great movie, but this is shitty. And now it's like now real damage is are now touching the lives of regular Americans, and we all lose, and it's embarrassing to our allies and to our enemies abroad.
Your Republican colleagues have proposed nuking the filibuster to force the government to reopen. What do you?
Yeah, of course. Carve it out for that. Absolutely. We ran on that. We ran on killing the filibuster. Now we love it. You know, it's like carve it out so we can move on.
Yeah, it's interesting to continue to see Senator Fetterman say things like this. I mean, I think it's only a matter of time where they find another way to get rid of him. And it may not be the political route, if you guys catch what I'm saying here, because he continues to contradict everything they're saying, especially during this government shutdown. And his contradiction is rooted in common sense. I mean, let's get it open and have that fight. Okay, well, here's the president just moments ago in the Oval Office saying he would like to meet with Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, but only after the government is open. Take a listen.
I'd love to meet with them. I just want them to open up the country first. You know, the country is so hot right now, and they've never voted against, you know, continuation. They've never voted against. They've never done that. They're doing this because they have Trump derangement syndrome. But I would love to meet. I would like to meet with both of them, but I set one little caveat. I will only meet if they let the country open. They have to let the country open. The people want to go back to work. They want to be served. They need the services of some people, and a lot of people need the money, the payroll. So I'll do it as soon as they open up the country. I'd like to meet.
But there's only one problem. They don't want to open the government. They want to speak first. And when they speak, they have demands that they want to be met. And these demands are something that should be addressed after the fact. Okay, now let's go to this next clip. This is the president really telling everybody exactly the status of Chuck Schumer, okay? He believes Chuck Schumer is done politically. It's over for him, and he actually feels sorry for him. Take a listen.
But he would be, I would say he would be the leader of the party. It's not Schumer. Schumer's shot. He's shot. This poor guy, I feel sorry for him. I've known him for a long time, but I think he's mentally gone. He's been beat up by young, radical lunatics, and I think Chuck Schumer he's gonzo. I really do. I think he's probably not going to run. It shows that he's losing in every poll. Now, this is hard. You know, he wants to meet with me. It's sort of hard to meet with a guy after I make a statement like that, but I'm just giving you the facts. I think Chuck is probably finished.
Speaking of Hakeem Jeffries, it was reported earlier this morning that a pardoned Capitol rioter was arrested last weekend for allegedly threatening to kill House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. These were court documents that CBS News was able to gather. And I guess the text messages read that he had planned to eliminate Hakeem Jeffries when the top House Democrat spoke at an event in New York City on Monday. And the good news here is he was arrested. He's being prosecuted. And that's what you would expect, right? Well, if you were to listen to what Hakeem Jeffries had to say in reaction, you think he would be applauding law enforcement for doing the right thing. No, he didn't. He blamed MAGA and Trump supporters as extremists. Take a listen.
Well, that's not clear, and that, you know, is for people to judge the credibility of that response.
Yeah, see, Jeffries lacks authenticity at the highest level. But hey, you better watch what you say about him, because he might have something to do about it. He might have something to say about it. He might come after you, you know. Who knows? I just don't know where he was going with that. You'd think he'd, you know, applaud the law enforcement agencies for doing their job, right? And keeping him safe. But no, there's never a moment that Democrats will do the right thing. They always have to make it about the president and, of course, people who support the president by calling us extremists, which is so far from the truth. Okay, let's go to our next story, and this is results driven. The president has raised the fee when it comes to H-1B visas. This is a program that corporations have been using to recruit talent from overseas. And basically, people know at this point it's been abused. I mean, corporations are skipping over American citizens to hire talent outside of this country. And yes, there may be an argument for why that is a good thing. I haven't been able to find a good argument on that, but that's what critics continue to push back on as it pertains to this position from the president. Well, it didn't stop him from signing this executive order raising the fees. Take a look.
President, one of the most abused visa systems in our current immigration system has been the H-1B non-immigrant visa program. This is supposed to allow highly skilled laborers who work in fields that Americans don't work in to come into the United States of America. What this proclamation will do is raise the fee that companies pay to sponsor H-1B applicants to $100,000. This will ensure that the people they're bringing in are actually very highly skilled and that they're not replaceable by American workers. So it'll protect American workers, but ensure that companies have a pathway to hire truly extraordinary people and bring them to the United States.
We need workers. We need workers. We need great workers. And this pretty much ensures that that's what's going to happen. I think, Sean, do you agree with that?
Well, they're $100,000 per year. So the whole idea is no more will these big tech companies or other big companies train foreign workers. They have to pay the government $100,000, then they have to pay the employee. So it's just not economic. If you're going to train somebody, you're going to train one of the recent graduates from one of the great universities across our land. Train Americans, stop bringing in people to take our jobs. That's the policy here. $100,000 a year for H-1B visas, and all of the big companies are on board. We've spoken to them about the gold card.
They love it. They love it. They really love it. They need it.
Now, if you listen carefully, this is going to generate a lot of money for the federal government. If you think about it, let's do the math. In last year, there were 780,000 applications that were submitted. For this year, it's been 479,000, and next year it's 336,000. The cap is 85,000. Okay, so if they just do the cap alone, so 85,000 times 100,000, how much is that exactly? Well, let's take a look. 85,000 times 100,000. That gives us $8.5 billion on an annual basis. That's not chump change. That's some good revenue for the federal government. And I think that's a good price to pay if you're continuing to go outside this country. I still don't understand why we don't have it where if you're going to college for a particular skill or trade, that you're automatically able to intern at one of these big corporations, especially one of these tech companies. That would make sense to me. But hey, I'm not the guy making the decisions here. Now, let's go to more information on this from Howard Lutnick. Take a look.
H-1Bs are sometimes used by people already in the country legally on other visas or student visas. Does this apply to them or to renewals, or does it only apply to people applying for the first time from abroad?
Renewals, first times, the company needs to decide, do they want, is that person valuable enough to have $100,000 a year payment to the government, or they should head home and they should go hire an American. The whole idea, it's annual, and it's for total, it can be a total of 6 years. So $100,000 a year, so either the person is very valuable to the company and America, or they're going to depart and the company's going to hire an American, and that's the point of immigration. Hire Americans and make sure the people coming in are the top people. Stop the nonsense of letting people just come into this country on these visas that were given away for free.
Okay, and here's some additional information just so you guys understand how serious the Trump administration is. They said the original H-1B visa fee was between $2,000 to $5,000 depending on the size of the company. They have raised it up to $100,000. Now, when you're trying to fix immigration, which obviously is a complicated thing, no question about it, you got to give the president some credit on this, especially if you believe in America First principles. People who are graduating college, young adults, should have first priority, in my opinion. If we're about making this country the greatest country on the planet, and what I mean by that is using our own citizens to accomplish these goals, I think it's a great idea. Now, some people will push back and say, well, Dvory, then how did we get Elon Musk? Well, if you're as smart as Elon Musk, then the company would have paid $100,000. There's no question about it. But if you're not as smart as him, and you're not as valuable as he may have been back in the day when he first got his visa, and he didn't even come on an H-1B visa, it was different. I'm just using him as an example. Then you probably wouldn't pay the $100,000. I think this is a smart play from the administration. If you guys see it differently, please let me know in the comment section below. Now, speaking of the comment section, why don't you guys just give me your thoughts about this entire video first, about what you heard of a U.S. Marshal being shot in Los Angeles on an immigration raid. Once again, reports say they were rammed off the road, led to officials responding by shooting, and it ricocheted and hit the U.S. Marshal. Give me your thoughts about that, and especially the Democrat, Dan Goldman, calling for ICE officers to be arrested. Then secondly, what do you make of the government shutdown? MSDNC brought on that TSA agent, didn't go well for them. And finally, do you agree with the president raising the H-1B visa fee from $5,000 to $100,000? Just let me know everything in the comment section below. Now this takes us to our next video because the president also had a historic win today regarding the record high deportations that he's been able to achieve in just his first year of office. If you guys missed out on that update and more what happened during our live stream earlier today, all you have to do is click on that video because it's coming up right now.